The closed door on toxic relationships is now open. So welcome to 2026 and how things have changed over the decades from sayings like what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. Things like just work on the relationship. Things like tough love. Oh, they're only doing it because they love you. All of these very unhelpful dialogues that were had in the day, these sayings that still persist. Women and men who have grown up with abusive parents, there are women out there who equate being hit, physically hit and abused by a man equals love. Women have divulged this to me and other people who literally said their father rejected them and they physically hit them. And one woman divulged to me, she related abuse to love. She said, at least when my father hit me, it meant he loved me. There are damaged people among us. In fact, there's probably more damaged people than not. So we'll do 4 case studies on, and this is only because I have possibly males who have divulged some of this stuff. No one will get named in it. Fake names will be made, but the actual case studies are 100% real. So I can just make generic names up, or I can say this happened between the man and woman. And if anyone ever bothers to comment, they can just reference something. So first case study was one guy had had a 5-year relationship, came out of it, generally healthy relationship. But this guy probably acknowledged he had leaned towards anxious attachment, didn't have a relationship till he was way past 20, then had 5-year relationship, came out of it, and was quite shaken up by it. It organically ended with there's an age difference. The woman wanted to go out in the world and discover herself more. And so that was it. It wasn't over really anything else. There was some talk that the woman may have gone and got drunk and slept with someone that was never verified. Regardless of that, it's what happens next, case study 1. So the guy goes out clubbing, catching up with friends. One woman pursues this guy. And he's like, oh, I'm having attention again from a woman. So he leans in on it, and then it all goes horribly wrong. So this woman officially announced she was diagnosed as, back in the day, it was, whatever you want to frame it, bipolar, manic depression, whatever one you feel comfortable with naming it as, they were officially diagnosed with it. So this isn't anything going on in the guy's head. There's no dramatization of the events. The events are 100% real. Now, depending on the people listening to this, it's like, well, they needed to get out of it, they should have been more understanding. And this was set in the 1990s, okay? So the talk around now of healthy, unhealthy relationships, toxicity, abuse, these phrases weren't in general use. Not even mental health was bandied about. This was almost still back in the day that if you went to see a psychiatrist, you must be crazy. Things have changed, but this is what men and women went through. In fact, one thing where I looked up, it was Slavic women got interviewed on how many relationships they had. The count was very low. One woman then said she was in a 25-year abusive relationship and left it and felt so much better. The words herself were, things like toxic relationship were not even used back then, but it was just one of those things like, don't get divorced. There's a shame in divorce. Do it for the kids. Do it for whoever. Now at least people have a vocabulary they can use. So what happened in case study one? Case study one. The relationship starts off with a lean in from that person. So let's say more than likely they're dismissive-avoidant, right? They want the relationship. They don't know what healthy looks like. They enter the relationship. They're very dominant. The guy is somewhat in his anxious state of, oh, I've got attention, I'm not going to be alone anymore. They've come out of 5 years of a reasonably healthy relationship, lots of intimacy, sleeping in the same bed, someone to come home to, all of that, and it's gone the next day. So they're trying to work through that breakup, and then someone enters and leans in and persistently pursues, oh, let's go out for dinner, let's do this, do you want to stay at my place? All coming from, in this case, the female, or the fearful, dismissive, avoidant, whatever the case was. So the guy's like going along with it. And then the sayings we have now, the cracks start to appear. A dialogue gets spoken about. By the way, this is from the woman. I'm diagnosed as bipolar/manic depressive. I'm on Zoloft. And then all this wild behavior happens. The guy notices there's no middle ground in this person. There's literally just not a quiet conversation over coffee or dinner or in the house. There's constant drama. There's constant, I'm not say inappropriate, but not suitable emotions for the situation, shall we say. So the guy would be met with the woman throwing herself on the floor with phone in hand, where a client had cancelled some order. Said, my car broke down. I can't go ahead with the product, whether it was dressmaking or ornamental things, whatever. So this person was self-employed. They counted on income. They threw themselves on the ground going, I needed that money to come through. How dare she do this? I'm standing there going, person's car's broken down. They need the money to drive to work. All this person sees is them and what's happening to them. They needed the money. How dare that person do that to them? And this is this person's constant narrative. There's no responsibility taken. There's no ability to view the world outwardly and then inwardly towards themselves of their behavior in it. It's always the other person. So you either had extreme grief and sorrow and depression, or you had absolute manic behavior, bouncing around, the biggest smile on their face, presenting to the world as this glorious, happy-go-lucky person. It was like Mary Poppins or someone trapped in a dungeon and crying all day. And this guy was reasonably in the middle. So something bad happens, okay, let's deal with that problem. Something good happens, oh, wow, I didn't think it was going to happen. But it wasn't throwing themselves on the ground crying or being oblivious to anything. They could probably see someone drop dead in front of them. This is an exaggeration. But someone could probably die and go, let's not worry about that. I have a nice meal to eat over here. Just complete shut off. And I am not unfeeling about this, but what I am trying to communicate is therapy was around, help was around, a abilities to sit with someone and have a dialogue on their behavior, not the other person's. So this poor guy, so he went through a year of just absolute chaos, thinking, oh, maybe if they move in with me, things will change. So this is one of the biggest things should be a takeaway of this channel. You will rarely and more likely never change the other person's behavior. You can hope all you want for change. But while that person has trauma that's not dealt with, it will always trigger. Yeah, they can work on themselves. And if you find a partner that has issues, but does work on themselves, gets some therapy, reads books, allows you to call out bad behavior, there's always that hope. But if they're just in denial and it's like, you did this to me, how dare you do that? How dare they do that to me? Just walk away. You are just dealing with psychological projection. And until they go, oh, I'm really sorry. So once upon a time, to show you, in case study 2, there was a similar thing. So case study 1, this guy divulges this, look, I'm actually not doing anything in this. Says, you accuse me. So let's run through some wild accusations. So this guy's hardworking, doing overtime, 9-10 hours days, let's say in construction. Might call into the shop to get some groceries, comes home, walks through the door, and it's like, you've been cheating on me. Where have you been? The guy's like, I've been at work, earning the money to buy you things. And it's like, no, you're clearly cheating on me. All this complete fictitious drama. So this poor guy, he would walk through the door. He wouldn't know if this case study 1 would run up, hug and kiss and go, sweetheart, so nice to see you, walk through the door and literally nearly have a frying pan towards their head. One time this guy was knelt down at a cupboard trying to get something out to help with the cooking. This woman nearly walked over and motioned to put her foot into this guy's head. This is completely unprovoked. So to lead in even further into this, so to talk about the 1990s and denial, this guy once got some family members to come around going, I don't understand what's going on. All I do is go to work. I work hard. I come home. I buy this woman some flowers. We go out together. We have nice weekends together. And then all this strange stuff happens. I come home, like this guy said, I come home and bags are packed and they're leaving me. Then there's a phone call going, how are you? It's like nothing happens. Like the stories I have heard, and, you know, so these guys or whatever are going, I came home and that. So, okay, I will slip up on pronouns sometimes because it's trying to reiterate a third party. So the guy's going, they've come home, bags are packed, they're leaving, they don't get what's going on, nothing's changed. There's no change. This guy's a little bit boring. They met. They said, oh, this guy goes, yeah, by the way, I'm pretty boring. I love music. I love attending concerts. I like cultural events. Let's say I like collecting stamps. Laid out on the table, this is this guy. Through the relationship, it's like, oh, you're so boring. You're so boring. Why can't you be more exciting? You're this, you're that. This guy's been honest, said, I'm boring. Gets accused of being boring. If people don't want to listen, if people want to have selective hearing, if you have vocalized I have this going on. I like this. And 2 weeks later, this person goes, oh, you're always fishing. You're always this. It's like, and you've done whatever. You like going to waltz classes or whatever. Or you go to yoga and then the other person's like, you're always at yoga. You got no time for me. This is already laid out. They need to take responsibility. If they thought, oh, I'm so special when they meet me that I'll give it up, it's probably not going to happen. I'm not saying it never happens, but generally speaking. So I also did some videos on creating drama, and this was a real life thing that got told to me. This couple sitting in the lounge watching TV. The guy might be reading a magazine and watching TV. The woman was sewing. The woman looks across, and literally this was verbatim from someone. The woman goes, oh, I think I might break up from you. The guy actually goes, I have it out. I don't have to be the bad guy leaving a relationship. I'll agree. Go, well, if you think that's the best thing, woman leaps out of the chair, screams at guys, so you want to break up with me, do you? This was just a standard day in this guy's life. So what changed? So guy gets family members come around. Mother goes into complete denial. The guy goes, by the way, this person is mentally ill. That was the phrase back then, mentally ill, not mental health. Or they have a mental issue. Mother goes into denial. Oh, don't talk about them like that. That's the mother's problem. The mother's not leaning in going, well, son, it doesn't sound good. Leave. They've grown up to stoicism of what happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. So they went through their own drama in a marriage. So then they projected on to the son. Just stay there. Look, a kick in the head or a fry pan in the head. Just toughen up and bear it. Just be the man. It's like, we don't have to do that. There's doors there. We can walk out them. We don't have to do it anymore. Those days, thankfully, are slowly dying off. And case in point, this woman was like, my care factor is 0. And then the guy's to blame for walking out. So the woman said, I care nothing about you. I care nothing about listening to your problems. The guy goes, well, I'd like to be with a woman that did care. Walks out and he's the bad guy. He's not the bad guy. The woman is the problem. He's not the problem. Change the gender. If the guy is this woman, she's not the problem, he's the problem. I am not gender stereotyping here. I'm giving a case study, and it just so happens that some male friends have divulged this. I've read case studies online. This is not victimizing any gender. In fact, I'll reiterate it later on. 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So the whole rhetoric of men walk out when things get tough is a lie. It is fictitious and it's not provable anywhere. So if in your surrounding, you might be a woman and you might know 10 women and they're all divorced and the guy walked out. That can be true, but it can also be true at the same time. On a broader, bigger scope, the women are walking away from the men. And you can still go, oh, it's all the man's fault. You can say that. It's actually not provable. There's plenty of men who are brokenhearted, living in one bedroom situations after buying the house, raising the kids, and the women either entered menopause or just decided they needed a bit of excitement and walked away. So that's probably case study 1 done with. So we covered the abuse, the made-up lies. She was on and off medication, and admittedly, things have improved a lot. Like, it's very difficult getting the right medication. People go through horrific scenarios of taking 5 years to find the right medication. But the mere fact is this: even if you got mental health issues, even if you disclose it, but you're not actively working on it and you use it as the crux. Admittedly, this woman didn't, but I have met other people go, sorry, I was so horrible the other night. Or if you call someone out on behalf, oh, but that's because I have this. Well, if they don't want to do anything about it, it's like we all carry a trauma. We all don't act aggressive. We all don't make things up in our head. Some of us actually do work and monitor what comes out of our mouth next. So basically, the end of the story was they packed their bags once and for all and went. This guy said he felt like a black cloud had lifted from his life and the sun was shining. It was like 12 months of living hell. One more add-on to the story. This guy, hard at work on the Saturday doing overtime, went and had some lunch with a co-worker, talked about some of this stuff. This guy actually happened to be from England. He was like, dude, that's too much bullshit. You need to get out of that. Says, that's ridiculous. You were going home and copping this abuse. Says, life's too short. And this guy actually needed to hear that, because he just thought, I've got to tough it out. I've got to be there. I'm the man. So he actually needed to hear these words. This is why this video is existing. Because if things aren't right, if things aren't healthy, walk. Sit down and say, why are you walking? Maybe even have a trial. So let's see if you can change. If they can't change, no help wants to be gotten. The behavior just is the same. Walk. You are allowed, as a human being on planet Earth, to seek out whatever happiness is. You're allowed to feel safe in a relationship. It is not okay to be abused or to abuse. All right. So we'll do case study 2. So this is a brief intervention from memory. I think it went for 3 months or something. So this other guy come out of a relationship, similar story, that they tend to jump into. We all know about the concept of rebound, a rebound or revenge relationship, whatever you wanted to call it. But people naturally, if their safe space is having someone to communicate to, some emotional support, they maybe like the very physical touch. And if they meet someone and holding hands happens the first night, everything could be fine. It could be somatic co-regulation. So the other one, from memory, it declined very rapidly. This person had addiction issues. They injected, I think it was speed or something. This guy was very uncomfortable with it. You know, this was after the whole AIDS thing and that, and just someone being on drugs. They were drug free. They didn't want to be with someone who took drugs. They pursued it for a little while and got out of it. This person would get drunk at concerts, stand on a street corner. This guy would say something. This woman would just scream abuse, saying, you're this, all these profanities. This guy just walks away and goes home. Now, I missed this, so I'm going to reiterate. Case study 1, just to show you this isn't a one-sided story, just to show you that moments of insight and reflection occur. Case study 1. This woman had come out of a bath and looked really sad. This guy says, what's up? this woman actually says, I've been thinking about some of the things you said to me, and maybe I am a bad person. Okay? Big tick for that guy. The guy telling that story got completely validated by the woman going, maybe they were a bad person. But of course, in the next 30 seconds, they're not. And it's always the other person's fault. But that moment of hope and reflection was there. The same thing happens in case study number 2. So when the guy goes, I can't do this anymore, it's not the relationship I want, I don't want people screaming at me when they're drunk, I don't want to be called names, I don't like it. And because the word happy gets bounced around, let's use it. He wasn't happy. And one time, reflection moment number 2. They're out somewhere, I think this person said they were at a nursery and they're putting plants in a thing. And there's case study 2 goes, nearly starts to cry and goes, I don't know why I'm so mean to you all of the time. They might have even apologized in that moment. Tick on case study 2. Guy's not dramatizing. The guy's not making this stuff up to walk. It's real abuse. It's real verbal abuse, accusations all the time that come out of nowhere. Admitted. The person says, sorry, I'm so mean to you all of the time. So thankfully, the guy ended it. He just didn't care anymore. Some men will just go, I'm out. I am done. Women can do the same. No gender implications here. I'm just referencing men have disclosed this. Case study 3, interesting one. So this was one of the famed long-distance relationships that I often talk about. So this study is a long-distance relationship, and they met each other in each other's respective countries once. So this guy leaned in. I'm trying to think. So he became, I think, which was pretty average at the time, like vegetarian/vegan, met someone on like one of those sites. And these sites actually have all these tiers where they're different names in different countries. They met online. They thought they had some things in common, like the same music, had the same sort of diets. One actually worked in mental health. The other guy didn't. I can't remember what that guy did. I think he might have been in construction as a tradesman. So I'm trying to think the order of things. The story's a bit, he went to England. No, they came here. They came to Australia? Yeah. So, and there's a lot of drama here. Like there's lots of, this woman leaned heavily. She had a high libido. So there's a lot of bedroom action. So the guy's more than likely not going to say no to that. But then there's all this abuse going on, like wild accusations. And it came out that they had some relationship with someone in England, and this guy lived on the Gold Coast. So there's all these triggers going on. She had this infatuation about lactating and all this stuff without a child and all this. There were like cracks from the start. And this guy like leaned in because he just thought, well, if I can get the company and I'm not alone, it's better than nothing. So men do this as well. I mean, I have literally, in conversations with women, I have had words on the screen appear. A woman has said, I'd rather be in an abusive relationship than be alone. And I think many of us, when we're vulnerable, have been in that situation where they go, at least there's someone to talk to, even if there's some abuse happens sometimes and it gets pushed aside. So yes, men get lonely, men want company. It happens. We're not going to go into anything, whether it's weakness or a strength. Some weaknesses are seen as a strength. But anyway, so this guy put up with quite a bit. He tries to have holidays from work. A lot of holidays are disrupted in these stories because things are done in holiday time. And so they're looking forward all year to relaxation and peace, and then they're met with complete drama. So in all fairness, this woman, I believe, divulged that she had witnessed a partner deliberately step in front of a bus and commit suicide. Yes, no denial there is trauma there. But what this thing carries on is, if they just conjure up something bad is going to happen in a relationship and they lean in as dismissive-avoidant, and they're the ones who I'll create the drama and walk first, so I don't get walked out on or watch a partner jump in front of a bus and die. All of this stuff goes on, and a lot of people just like to simplify stuff because they either can't confront thinking more deeply, that there's horrible, dreadful stories under the surface, or they just like to keep life simple and go, well, they're a bit of a so-and-so and walked out, they should have stayed. It's clearly not that simple. So this guy rather unwittingly elects to go to England to continue the relationship, even though the cracks appeared, even though when they went away on a holiday, there was fights. There was the guy being accused of stuff all the time. This woman had some health issues with an ankle, so she couldn't walk very far. They took some dogs away. They loved animals. But anyway, there was abuse. There was accusations. There was, you've gone too far this time. And this guy's like barely saying anything. So goes to England. The guy, quite interestingly, manages to compartmentalize a lot of the trauma. Like it's dealt with, but it's like he'll remember, historic places, and they went to Ireland as well, and he got to do a lot of things, and she was accommodating some of the time. None of these people are purely evil people. They're not bad people. Their behavior is bad. This is where a lot of misnomers and wild accusations come around, where men will go, all women are BIT, whatever. And women will go, all men are lazy, all men. We know that's not true. That's a sweeping generalization from people who are basically lazy. They don't want to go and do percentages. They don't want to go and do research because they feel the desperate need to be right. And they can go and think they're right, but they're not right. So he goes over and more of the same happens. He meets someone, and then he meets some friends, and then their friends are in a same-sex relationship, so two women. That's neither here nor there. But they had conflict. There was stuff going on there. And then there's guys like sitting in the middle of abuse from his partner, watching these two other women fight, and he's trying to like have a beer and enjoy the summer in England, where there's actually some blue sky and rare sun. So just to continue suffer, I remember something came out of a video call where the guy had to scrape the bottom of the phone, like he moved the phone, and this woman erupted, going, did you just scrape the microphone on the phone? Blah, blah, blah. I arranged to meet you at this time. You weren't there. You did this. You did this. You've crossed the line. You've gone too far. And this guy is polite, courteous, buys flowers, does the usual thing, goes to dinner. Maybe some women just can't believe that there's guys out there that actually do nice things. They exist, believe it or not. There's the little unicorns. It's actually quite a lot of men, to be honest. If 60% of the world's secure, you've got over half the population of people are decent, self-respecting, respectful, courteous, and polite. The other 40% is what the channel is about. The anxious, the avoidance. Okay? And not all of them. It's behavioral issues, it's childhood issues, it's all of the stuff. It's all there to be researched on the internet. So then, so case study 3, suicide appears. So there's women overseas going, rah, 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 I'm just worthless, I'm this, I'm that, I'd be better off dead, oh, you mightn't hear from me again, and all of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying don't treat any suicide talk flippantly. Try and make sure do all the usual stuff, make sure that they don't have the ability to do it, contact friends if you can, and all of this stuff. But unfortunately, sometimes it gets bandied about as a threat. Like, if you leave me, I'll kill myself. If you do this, I'll kill myself. I'm not being flippant about it, but be aware it does get used literally as a threat with no intention behind it at all. It's part of their condition. So that relationship ends. And they're a little bit amicable after it. They just realize they're not suitable. So case study 4. This was here in Australia, and this guy had met his second English partner. This guy had another story which is similar to that one. They're all interchangeable when it's abuse. Abuse is abuse is abuse. So this person, and I think this got talked about in another video. So this person was born of a particular race or ethnicity and or religion. And as this religion gets victimized, let's say it goes back to World War II, shall we? And you can work out what that particular race/religion, etc. was. So they're like, ever since I came out of my mother's womb, I've been victimized on planet Earth. There was a whole war over us, and because I'm this, everyone looks at me in a certain way. And this was all in their head. Of course, people didn't. Some people might have reacted that way. But anyway, onto the case study. So this person reaches out on a dating site. The woman reaches out to the man. The man dates this woman. He goes, really not my type. Not a lot of fireworks going on there. Maybe they can be friends. Now, some of these stories, by the way, for cultural differences, so in some of the West, in England, America, Australia, it's not uncommon for women to have platonic male friends. It's not uncommon for men to have female platonic friends. There was a culture grew up. I think case study 1, that woman that pursued the relationship, the one that was manic depressive, she had no understanding that a man could just have a platonic female friend. She was from an era where if a woman talked to a man, it meant they were in a relationship. And I think that might have created a safety net for them to be abusive. And I know in some Eastern countries, Slavic tradition is more steeped in that. I've literally had one guy from Uzbekistan say, and you can notice it's I'm talking about post-Soviet women here. So women 50s, 60s, they grew up in a very traditional, if I'm talking to a man, they'll be my husband and I don't have other male friends. And this guy said, The Slavic people use the word energy. I don't have the energy for it, or I will put my energy into this. The West frame it differently, more like I can't be bothered. There's no point in doing it. But to this day, you still notice that married Slavic people, the women tend to just have female friends and not many male friends, or maybe just the one, and they put the energy into that partner. That box is ticked. I've got the boyfriend. The men go, I've got the girlfriend or the wife. I don't need to talk to other people. So, this is the interesting one I've talked about, where they had gone overseas. They had given birth to a child to a Brazilian guy. They got the Brazilian guy to come here. They helped with all the translation, the paperwork, got them citizenship. Then the guy broke up from her. Now, when case study 4 guy comes in, of course, this happens a lot. Some of these men I've talked about are guilty of this, where they meet the woman, they're on their best behavior. They hear these horrible stories of how men treated them and walked out on them. These guys fall into the trap. And they go, but you're so nice. You're so sweet. These guys must be horrible. Then when the cracks appear, these poor men go, oh, now I see why your ex walked out on you, because this is what you are really like. And I'll reiterate, goes both ways. Don't bother just going, I'm victimizing women. I'm not. You can flip these roles all the way through it. So, but that person gets it to go, oh, that's why they left you. And this guy was showing these text messages from the ex, and he's going, I can't do this. You keep messing me around. I had plans for the weekend. You cancelled. You said you'd look after the kid and all of this stuff. So, and this is suicide case number 2. So it was this person's birthday. It was the partner's birthday. The guy sits there on a couch, gently touches them and said, what would you like to do on your birthday? Would you like to go to dinner? Would you like to do this? That question was formally asked and repeated. That night, this woman has ripped up the birthday card, said, you don't care about me. You never do anything. It's my birthday. We should have done something. The guy goes, I asked you what you wanted to do. You didn't reply, and I didn't know what was going on. If you were happy to stay at home, you didn't voice it. Now, this same person, and this isn't another video, but because there's no harm in number of times over. So this person said they had been in a 10-year relationship, a 10-year where they must have been contented, and they walked out, and there was nothing wrong. This woman said, treated me well, respectful, didn't swear. We had dinners together. We had some intimacy. She said their libidos weren't matched, that she wanted intimacy more. He wasn't that way inclined. But they admitted they walked out of a healthy relationship with no abuse, and then said they had trouble finding people. It's all openly admitted. So you got case study 1, literally after the bath, looking sad, says, thinking about what you said, maybe I am really a bad person. Case study 2, at the nursery, I'm sorry, I'm so mean to you. Case study 3, it actually said, I've been a BIT, whatever, with bells on. and they made up a story that they had cancer and was trying to push that guy away, but then would still lean in and go, you're a so-and-so because you do this. Just chaos. And then case study 4, woman, I walked out on a perfectly healthy relationship. And these men, is this all lining up now? Do women actually understand that these men aren't bad people? That they just want stability and happiness and romance. They want what you want. You want, I just wish I had a man who would do blah, blah, blah. These men are out there meeting women who are creating a path of trauma, of damaged men who go, I'm just going to give up because the next one's just going to be that living hell. And then the nice woman over here is going, where are all the men? They're damaged by women that maybe you women could be pulling the other women up on. Maybe you go, wow, you had a great guy there and blew it. Maybe some of this discussion needs to get had. And men, vice versa, going, you walked out on a great woman, you cheated on someone who looked after you well, gave you what you want, cared for your kids and you walked out. Men are idiots too. This goes both ways. So that relationship ended with, this is a drama. There's always a drama. It's like everything's, well, this poor guy wanted to walk out on her. This guy owned a dog. This woman would scream. The neighbors would hear this woman scream and said to them, this guy relayed the story that the neighbor said, I have never heard you raise your voice once in that house and heard screaming from her to you. It's all documented. It's all there. You can have what stories you want in your head that the guy must have done something. Sorry to disappoint you. Guy did nothing but be nice. So the guy goes to grab his keys, gets pushed in the wall, physically abused. The woman screams at her male child. The guy comes home from work. The dog's traumatized, eyes rolling in its head. He's nothing but the most beautiful animal, just incurring anger and abuse in the house. The guy just said, can't go on. The woman actually, that's right. So this guy had a friend in India. His friend just said something like gentle kisses on your eyes as you sleep. This woman created drama, going, I need to use your phone, I can't find mine. Saw the message, then just sits down, goes through the phone and go, oh, this is sexual. You said you wanted to hug this woman. And then the beautiful stories. Oh, well, I'm going to take responsibility. So I must be doing something that you're looking for attention somewhere else. And then this guy hears this woman ringing her friends out going, this guy did this. And then she actually said to this guy, my friend said, oh, it's the same story. Case study 4. This happened with the last guy. So he's the constant in it. Case study number 4 is the constant in it. So that ended and they moved on. So toxicity exists. Toxicity is now talked about. Put a torch on it. Open the door. Go, this is what's going on, people. You're just seeing someone nice in public. Behind the closed door is a living inferno. It's just bullets are flying metaphorically. There is a war going on behind the house, and then the best presentation goes out in the public. We all see it with politicians. We all see it now with stories divulged of what some people are really like. And if people want to have their blinkers on and just go, I'll take a 30-second snapshot of that person, and they were lovely. In 30 seconds, they were lovely, yes. And they could have been the most horrid person the rest of the time.